Good morning again, folks. Look, we've got to get something straight. We do not have three co-equal branches of government. That's bovine excrement. I don't know where that started. I don't know where that gossip started, where that fallacy began, but that's what they teach us. And that's not true. That's not correct. And in order to understand which branch of the government is least powerful, and there is one, and which branch of the government is most powerful, and there is one, you have to read the Constitution. When you read the Constitution, you will see the functions and the powers delineated to our limited government. The weakest branch, the least powerful branch, is your Supreme Court, is your Judiciary. The judicial branch is the least powerful branch of government, and it should be that way. And your second most powerful branch of government is your executive branch of government, your presidency. But it's not the most powerful branch of government, and it should be that way. The most powerful branch of government is your Congress. Look at the powers that Congress has. They have the powers of the purse. They have the powers to wage war, to declare war. It's not supposed to be co-equal. And in case you're wondering, there's only one branch of the government that is more powerful than the Congress. Guess what that is? You don't even think about it. You don't even realize it. Because in 1902, you were deprived of it by the Dick Act. The Militia Efficiency Act of 1902 took away our militia. The militia is the most powerful branch of the government, which is the way it should be. Let me give you an example of how powerful the militia. And believe me, when we started, most of the militias were state. Some militias were private, especially in Vermont. They had a private militia there. The men formed their own body. And in my state of New Hampshire, when the legislative branch refused to do their duty and pass the legislation which was so desperately needed for the proper orderly governance of the state, the militia had a fit, and they weren't going to put up with it. And they had just moved the state capital from Plymouth inland to Exeter, New Hampshire. Why? Because it was too close to the sea and they were worried the British could get to the state capital, so they moved it inland to Exeter, New Hampshire. Thereby, we have the incident of Exeter. Well, there's a book on that about UFO abductions as well, in the incident of Exeter. That's a whole different thing, though. We're talking about the incident of Exeter, in which the legislators went into the building for the session, and the militia surrounded the building. And the head of the militia went in, or somebody went in and delivered the message. Gentlemen, you're going to do your duty, and you're not leaving here. No one leaves until you get this legislation drafted up and done. And nobody delivers anything. Nobody comes in until you get it done. No food, no drink. No one in, no one out. And they surrounded that building. And they wouldn't allow the legislative branch out until they had done their duty. We need our militias. The militias are tasked with two specific duties in the Constitution, expressly written, and we're deprived of those. These Democrats, this deep state, this horrible bunch of people that control the country will not put down the insurrections. That's the number one duty, is to quell insurrections, to keep the peace. Black Lives Matter, Antifa should be put down by our militia. And the militia consists of all able-bodied men above the age of 20. And they provide their own arms. When you read the Second Amendment, you will see clearly that it says there's a militia. And we have no militia. So you people out there who think you're defending the Second Amendment, you're nuts. You're insane. You haven't even read the Constitution. You don't understand the importance of the militia. It was the most important branch of the government. It's how we got our self-rule. We took care of the business ourselves. If a sheriff needed backing, we backed him. If the sheriff was committing crimes, we, the militia, arrested him and took him before the judge. Now, the second task detailed in the Constitution is to defend the borders, which is not happening. And I told the woman running for the Republican ticket, who did not make it, that if she wanted to be governor, all she had to do was hold one press conference. She had to announce that she was forming the Arizona militia, which has never existed previously. All she had to do was make the one announcement. The news across the country would have gone nuts. They would have gone ballistic. They would have lambasted her from one end of the nation to the other. She wouldn't have had to fund any other advertising. No more advertising at all. The damn news media would have gone after her. And men would have heard about it around the country, and they would have flocked to her in Arizona under her governorship because she was going to allow us to defend ourselves, something our central federal communist government will not allow. Look, you guys and you gals, form your state militias and do the tasks detailed in the Constitution. That's defensible clear up to the Supreme Court, and you will win. You will prevail. The federal government cannot stop the militia from defending the borders. The federal government cannot stop the militia from quelling insurrections, real insurrections and riots. Not this bullshit that was planned a year in advance by the FBI and the Congress. Nancy Pelosi and the FBI planned that. Pelosi even ordered that somebody had to be sacrificed. And that jackass, who was a lieutenant at the time, copied that on the radio and affirmed he got the order. He got it. He was going to take care of it. And he lay in wait with his handgun drawn for Ashley Babbitt, who happened to be taller than the others, who was behind others. There were other men in front of her. And because her head stuck out like that, he had a clear shot right at her forehead, and he blasted her. He murdered her. Nobody was trying to break into that window, crawl through that window. He feared for his life. That lying son of a bitch, they promoted him to captain. He's never been charged with her murder. He can still stand trial. He can still be charged. He can still be prosecuted. He can be found guilty of the murder of Ashley Babbitt. And he should be sentenced to being executed unless he's willing to give up the former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. Welcome to giving psychology away. You've just been lambasted because you're a bunch of dumb idiots out there. You don't listen to reason. You don't read. You don't pray to Yahweh. You don't read your Bibles. You don't educate yourselves. You don't defend yourselves. You're totally entitled. You sit back, watch the news, and believe every bit of bullshit they feed you. The men of this nation have to form the militias. Had that gubernatorial candidate actually made the announcement that I suggested, she would be governor today. And we would have a militia guarding the border of Arizona. That one act alone would have shamed the governor of Texas, Abbott, to putting his militia together and putting it on the borders to defend the border. And New Mexico, between them, would have fallen in line. They would have had to. And then California might just have come around. Imagine a militia in California. My God, it would be one of the biggest armies in the world. Wow, I would love to see that. California. Maybe we should just excommunicate the state of California from the Union for all the undermining and the traitorous, treasonous, rat bastard acts that come out of the state of California. It's not an organic government, folks. It's a corporation as well. You need to ignore that state corporation that claims to be the government in California and form your own government. The seats remain empty. All you have to do is elect the people among yourselves and sit proper congressmen, proper state senators, proper state representatives, a proper governor, sworn in to the old Constitution of California and not some damn corporate entity designed for profit that's centrally controlled and comes under the one big corporation for the entire planet, the corporation out of Rome. That's all I got for you folks. May Yahweh bless you. May you bless Yahweh. May Yahweh make America good again. That's the key to becoming great again. Alex de Tocqueville wrote a book. The Frenchman traveled the country for 2 years as a sociologist, and he wrote about America, and he boiled it down to this: America is great because America is good. And he gave a prognosis. America will cease being great when America ceases being good. Do your part.